An hour later, Blakey arrived at his only task for the day. It was in a neighborhood of 2-acre, impeccably manicured lots, each house an attempt to outstyle and outstatus the other. His phone directed him to a 5,000-square-foot colonial spectacle in one of the many cul-de-sacs bordering conservation land. His 20-year-old pickup truck sputtered to a stop and moaned when he got out. The beater was all he could afford at first, and once he could afford better, he had grown too loyal to its resilience. The faded decal on the driver's side used to read, "Blakey Builds." Blakey hiked his droopy jeans. His belt was either too loose or too tight, and there was no space left for an in-between hole. He gave the house a long, qualitative stare. To the average eye, it would simply be a house that most could never afford, but to Blakey, it was a patient awaiting diagnosis, and he could already tell this one was ill. It was as if the structure were too heavy, like something was pushing it down into the earth 1 millimeter at a time. Blakey removed his jacket on the way to the truck bed. Although it was October, and despite a steady breeze, he was already sweating. He retrieved a long object wrapped in a ratty and sun-bleached towel from the truck's utility box. He kept it wrapped on the hike up the driveway, a quarter-mile, 20-degree slope that fashionably weaved through the front of the property, like the line to a theme park ride. Keep your arms and legs ready and your eyes open at all times. That throb behind his eyes returned. At the door, the keypad lock reminded him to check his phone for the code. The last message in the thread read, "Thank you so much. Payment on the fridge. Door code 217237. Text us when all is clear." This last part lingered with Blakey. All is clear, Ollie, Ollie, oxen free. It made him feel useful, and he straightened as he punched in the numbers. The door politely beeped him in. There were no lights, no standout smells, and no sounds, but he called out just to be sure. "Hello? Anyone home?" On the left was an expansive living room of marble and mahogany, centered around a nearly wall-sized television screen. To the right was the dining room, filled with furnishings probably worth more than his entire house. He whistled, testing the echo in the 30-foot ceiling of the foyer, and then headed to the kitchen. 2 animal head magnets held an envelope on the fridge. "Mr. Blakey" was scrawled across it, barely legible and clearly hurried. He counted his money. Fee settled, he peeked in the fridge. Most of the food was specialty, organic nonsense, but in the freezer he found gold, ice cream nutty cones. The wrapper depicted a cartoon-haunted house with bats flying across a full moon and a goofy Frankenstein's monster running away with an armful of the same treats. It made him smirk at the realization that he wouldn't have to fight with his wife over Halloween decorations this year. She always thought he went overboard. He toured the kitchen, a typical happy-looking home. There were children's drawings, notes of accomplishment, and scraps of encouragement on a bulletin board on the wall. Even the clutter was in its place. The house was filled with candid, non-posed family photos. Large black and white prints, triple matted in heavy wood frames, adorned the walls. Not your average shutterbug. Someone had talent. Everything was stylish and classy and made him a little sick. Mostly because of the history of joy on display. A certified happy family, just like his used to be. With a sigh, Blakey finished the ice cream in 2 more bites, and then read the joke on the inside of the wrapper before throwing it away. Which monster loves disco? The boogeyman. He tossed the remnants and dutifully headed upstairs. A long hallway ending in a box bay window looked out to the backyard. The attic door was next to it. He knew it was the attic because there was a dresser stacked on top of a heavy desk pushed against the door. To his left were the 3 perfectly decorated kids' rooms. The first was too young, the second was too old, and just like Goldilocks, the third one was just right. It was the furthest down the hall, as if middle children must be set apart. It was also the messiest, filled with books, drawings on the walls, painting supplies, and all sorts of musical equipment. All the signs of creativity, just like with his daughter. Blakey reminded himself that sympathy was dangerous, emotion was a distraction, and not to take things personally. Since numbness was already well established, he simply took note, filing it in the messy case log in his mind. Scanning through the bookshelves, he didn't see what he was looking for, but with a duck under the bed, he found both. The books were small, cloth-bound, hard-covered, and precious in every sense. One book was deep blood red, Alice in Wonderland. The other book, royal blue, Through the Looking Glass. Pocketing the first, he sat down on the bed with Looking Glass. The twin mattress sagged under his weight, and he leaned his towel-wrapped object against the wall. With a potent snap from the book's spine, he settled in to read. The late morning passed into early afternoon while he quietly flipped the pages. He had read it so many times that the words meant little, but reading the book always summoned them somehow. He wasn't sure of the mechanism or reason, but he was certain of the result and page count. At dusk, 147 pages in, later than usual, in the complete silence of the house, he heard it bound through the leaves out back. Its climb up the side of the house was slow and deliberate. The weight and size could never be completely hidden. The siding stressed and creaked, but if a child had been listening to music, watching TV, or on a phone call, they would have missed it.